Hello, I'm Nori, Team Director and founder of the Minnesota Paranormal Study Group. What got me interested in the paranormal is a very personal and dear story to me. When I was a little kid, I had an uncle. He was the kind of person who would do anything for anybody at any time. He didn't have any kids, he wasn't married, but let me tell you, he sure did love kids. He lived with his mom. She was a diabetic amputee, so she was in a wheelchair. She was missing a leg. So his whole job was to take care of her and make sure she was okay. When I was little, my dad actually didn't spend a whole lot of time with us because he was always trying to make ends meet. He was just that type of guy. So I guess the male model in my early years was my uncle. As much as it sounds like he was a good person, he did have his faults, like everybody does. He was human. He did have quite a problem with drinking, which I'll get into a little bit later on and how that affected my life. But he was the type of guy to take his closest nephew, that would be me. He took me out on all life's little lessons. He showed me how to shop at the grocery store. He always somehow had money to buy me something special, whether it was a Happy Meal from McDonald's or he was buying me Crunch and Munch or taking me to Duluth for the day. The world was always ours when I was with him. He was the type of guy to you know, if his brothers needed help, he was there in a heartbeat. He was a unique type of guy. I remember one of the things he used to always drive around in was a big El Camino. Or not El Camino, I'm sorry. A big blue car anyway. He was the type to do just about anything for anybody. When I was 10 years old though, I remember being put in the car and going to my grandmother's, which was kind of unusual because it was a school day. And we usually went there on the weekends or during the summer because my dad worked in the same town. So we'd go spend the day with my grandma, keep her company, and spend some time with my uncles. Well, this day was a little bit unusual, and I remember my parents telling me that my uncle was very sick and we had to go see him. It was sudden. I mean, he didn't have any kind of ailments or anything like that. But what ended up happening was he was having complications from drinking. Cirrhosis had set in. I remember so many times sitting in the recliner or the sitting chair in the living room at his apartment. He would always be on the couch and I'd be on the sitting chair, and we'd watch things like Gilligan's Island, MacGyver, those types of shows. You know, Bewitched was another one of his favorites. But we'd always watch them together. I'd always be in that chair and he'd always be on the couch. Well, when I got to my grandmother's, the couch was empty. I still sat in my chair, and I still sat there watching TV because we didn't have cable when I was young because we weren't blessed with a whole lot of money. I remember my uncle coming into my grandmother's a little after noon, I believe. So 12:30, 1 o'clock, he came in, and this is my uncle Marv. He actually came in and he said to my grandma, who was there with me. She was in the kitchen, so she was in another room, but as you walked into the apartment, you walked into the kitchen first. And he mentioned in a very monotone voice that Bobby had passed away. As a kid, I was used to being alone. My parents didn't really have a lot of time for me because they were always busy doing something, so I was used to being alone. But taking the news of losing your best friend alone did quite a toll on me. When you have a bond with somebody that great, you're not able to say goodbye. You kind of wish you did. You kind of hope that they really aren't out of your life forever. Anyways, a couple of years went by. And my parents, when they were around, were very open-minded people. My dad especially, he loved watching things on Bigfoot. He loved anything on Discovery Channel that would open up his mind. And one of our favorite programs was Sightings on Sci-Fi. If you're unfamiliar with sightings, one of the things about sightings was that it was like a news broadcast, but from the paranormal aspect. You'd have things like ghosts, you'd have Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, Roswell, that kind of stuff. It was always the news brief stuff. That was our favorite thing to watch together. The more and more I started watching it, the more and more I started hearing stories about people saying goodbye to loved ones coming back from the dead to deliver messages or to deliver comfort. And I started to wonder if some of those stories were true. So I decided to set out on my own and to find my own answers. In high school I started researching as much as I could. I kept thinking to myself, that maybe one day I will be able to finally say goodbye. One day I will get my comfort, and eventually I did, on a couple different occasions. It doesn't need to be proved to anybody but myself. Best evidence in the world is personal experiences. You'll never change a person's experiences or their mind because of their experiences. And that just happens to be something on my end that I've had a couple different things on. So I don't really want to go too much into my own experiences with them, but I did have them, and that was my closure. However, along my journey of finding my own answers to say goodbye to my uncle, I started running into people with the same problems. I started running into families who are terrified because their kids are seeing stuff. Things are moving on their own, and we don't know why. It's not comfortable to live here anymore. So now my journey, my goal after finding my own answers is to help other people find their answers, and to give them comfort in their own lives. And I do this all for free. One of the reasons I do this all for free is because the number one thing that anybody can have in the world of the paranormal research is stories. Places to investigate, stories to check into. Whether people are emailing me with, I just had an email today from a fella who his granddaughter was seeing things and talking. She's 4 years old. She's talking to someone who's not really there. Those kind of stories that I can help in any way, shape, or form in my own experiences, in my own travels, are definitely worth it. That's why I started MinnesotaGhosts.com. It's a website for anybody in the state to come on and share their experiences, find comfort of their own. If they think an investigation is warranted, the Minnesota Paranormal Study Group is there for them. If we cannot physically reach them, we have a network of groups throughout the state that we work with that we can say, hey, listen, this is what's going on. Can you check it out? And then they can physically show up and say, hey, we're here to help. And that's why we are part of the TAPS family. That's one thing that's so vital. That's one thing that I always push. Because the first thing that you always hear Jason or Grant say, whether it's on TV or if it's edited or whatever, their message that they convey as soon as they knock into the door and the first handshake comes, hey, we're here to help. And that's one thing that I believe that every group should be able to do. It's not about books. Books are just a perk. It's not about TV shows. Those are just a way for us to convey what we do, to get people interested, to get those people who are scared and don't know where to turn. They can see it on TV and say, hey, that's a place that I can go. That's what it should be about. That's why what we do is for free. So that's my story. And I thank you for watching it. And I hope now that you know my story, you can jump on to our website and share yours. Because I love to hear it. I love hearing these stories. So please, if you have a story, share it with us. If not on our message boards, you can personally email me through the website, or if you're seeing this on YouTube even, send me a message at adam@minnesotaghosts.com. And I'll be able to try to help you in any way, shape, or form that I possibly can. So thanks for watching the video. I hope that you get a better understanding of where I'm coming from in my own travels and experiences and why I do this. Hopefully the other members will eventually have a video of their own to share and explain. Alright, take care.
Seems like every time we talk, we can't get past a little stuff.